Hourglass, you see it, you know, you see it on the head and everything. It's all about time, and the pandemic played a huge role in it because it really changed the way I think we think about time. You know, it feels like a year of our life just kind of, you know, is gone. A lot of times I'll catch myself thinking like last year is 2019. You know, it definitely caused us to change. And for me as a process, I was looking at 2020 being the year where I released a project. And it actually gave me time to sit down and really think through what I wanted to do with it. And that's how Hourglass was born, you know. And it's a project that it's about, you know, patience. It's about your own path, your own journey, and doing things in the right time, in your time. It's about balance. You know, it's about blocking out the noise, which is something else that came from pandemic, and really just being focused on what's right for me. Right? Not about what you see on social media that ultimately is telling you that you should be at this point in your life by a certain age, or, you know, this stage in your life, you know, or that time is running out to do something. It's more so just, you know, you have your own time, your own path, your own journey for what you want to do. Run it and do it to the best that you can do. And that's what's important. So that really came out of me being in the pandemic and sitting thinking about where I was in life and where I wanted to be, and how time is flying by, right? What it feels like in the pandemic. I think for this one, there was definitely a record. And it all fell in line perfectly, but it was a point where I had been working on Hourglass for a while. It was completely different, had a completely different vibe. And it just wasn't like fun anymore. Like I was just at a point where I was just distracted, and it was pressure, and it was mainly put on by myself. But I was like, I got to go back to this being fun, you know, or else I'm not going to do it anymore. What's the point? And so when I was thinking back about, you know, what ultimately got me into music, what had me excited about it, it was my first project, and that was called State of the Union. So I was like, okay, let's make a State of the Union 2. And I was like, that'll get me excited. I drew it on the whiteboard. I was like, let's do it. But even then, like, it was exciting, but it wasn't until I found a couple beats that just kind of hit me different. And I started writing something to it. It got me out of a writer's block. And then I put those songs together, and I was taking a look at, okay, how could I create this State of the Union? And I was listening to it, and I was like, no, this is still Hourglass. Like, there's a story that I haven't told yet that I need to finish before I go to State of the Union. So there's a song called Promises that'll be the intro track for it. And then there's a song called Wrong Side that'll actually be coming out end of August. And those are the two that really sparked the project. And of course, One and Only was happening while I was putting this together, and it fits into it. And I wanted to be a part of the project, but it was kind of like a separate focus, I would say. Any chance I get to be in the studio and just be with the music and be present in that moment is special. You know, in particular, One and Only was definitely special. I feel like every time I'm going into the studio, most times I'm trying to do something new. So like, I remember The Wall was one of the first times I was in an actual studio. Like State of the Union, I pretty much recorded most of that like in my dorm room. So, you know, it was a completely different experience to be in the studio, and you got engineers and like, you know, you telling people where you're gonna punch in and everything. Like that was new to me, and so that created a whole different vibe in itself. And I think with like the newer songs, so like Egyptian Cotton and Too Much, Drunk Text, all those were in a different studio. And so that was me locking in with a new engineer and focusing and being like, how can we create something special? And trying to push myself in a different realm. Like all of those songs sound very different. you know, very different vibes and almost genre, but similar in a sense. So it took different parts of me, and I had to perform them differently in the studio. So they were all special moments. And I think it's always special when I have other people in there. So like Drunk Text, you know, having Aziz in there and recording was special. And then, you know, one and only me and Davo, and being able to be like, hey, let's try this. And, you know, being able to do it right there on the spot. And working with Geronimo, you know, Geronimo approved, the engineer, and him really putting in like I'll never forget the part where the moment when he put in that when I say shot my shot, hit it from half court, and it's like off the backboard. Like when he put that in, it changed the entire verse. Like I was coming in and I was like, yeah, this, you know, this is a cool verse, like at the end. But when he added that, I was like, oh, this is hard. Like, you know, I don't care what anybody says, it's hard. So, you know, little moments like that are always special. But, you know, I'm blessed anytime I get in the studio.